The 72 Entertainment Group Podcast Network presents. All right, let's see. Okay, that's better. Okay. Woo!
All right now.
All right. It is time for the Always Into Something podcast. I am MMB coming to you live from the Leo Pope Studios in beautiful Henderson, Nevada. Of course, I got my partners in crime here. I got my brothers here. And I'm going to read them off, and they can just acknowledge their name as I read the name, as I said the name. Okay, so there's a mod here.
What's going on? I'm right here.
All right. We also got Mr. Parks. M. Parks in the building. What we got?
Present.
Also, the shameless one. No shame.
The sippity doodah.
All right, fellas. We're all here.
What's going on?
It's you. I mean, let's just get into it. I mean, it's a lot going on, man. I
Get impression.
you know, I saw. You know, it's been a lot of protests, a lot of, protests and
A lot of looting
and things
rioting.
like that, and rioting going on across the country.
Right.
Yeah, how many of you have seen the video of George Floyd?
I've seen it. I mean, I feel like
I've seen it. I think everybody's seen it.
I think everybody's seen that.
No, I didn't watch.
Oh, you
I'm
did?
good.
Oh, yeah, I feel you.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all.
Like,
Yeah,
I didn't, we didn't watch this movie how it is. This is just a choose your own ending.
Yeah.
I'm good.
So
I don't know if I ever.
So I saw clips, and then I watched like the whole video a couple days ago, and I'm gonna be honest, I was feeling some kind of way about it. I'm not a violent person. I'm not one that wants to lash out with violence or anything like that or retaliate. But this made me feel some kind of way. It wasn't cool, man. It really wasn't cool, and I'm just I'm not enraged or anything like that. It's just it hurts more than anything. You know, you have a man handcuffed in police custody, laying on his stomach, and an officer is kneeling on his throat, on his neck, to the point where he cannot breathe. And he repeatedly says that he cannot breathe. And the officer decides to continue to put the pressure on until he eventually is unconscious. And then he eventually passes away right there on the street in Minneapolis.
Sad sight, bro.
Not a good look. Not a good look. And, you know, it incited a whole bunch of emotions from a lot of different people, a lot of different organizations, and all people have been talking about it. And I've seen some clips of stuff going on, but just right off the top, like how Ahmad, how did you feel about it?
I mean, like, anytime I see, I guess because I'm older now and I've seen more, heard more. So anytime I see, like, my people just being oppressed, I think I rather see less. I try to do my best to see less and less of it over the years, because you just piss. It just piss you off. I mean, for me, you know, I can't speak on everybody, but for me, it piss you off because it's like, damn, they just walking all over us. You know what I mean? And I just know that we better than that as a people. You know, I just feel like, but I always said our biggest downfall is just we don't unify enough.
Yes.
I feel like if we unify, we could be a superpower, and that's what everybody fears. So why don't we do it? I don't get it. It's just like we brainwash, like it psychologically conditions people. And then after a while, you don't even care. You don't even remember the names. You just become numb to the whole situation. And that's just not what we need to be doing. That's just not life. And you got to look at it like, I think about the people that seen this before I was born, and the people that seen this that's 30, 40 years older than me when they were my age. And, it just lets me know, damn, am I going to be still looking at this shit in 30 or 40 years? Living in a weird fear. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
when I see that, I get upset. It really feels personal. I just feel like this is bullshit. And of course, I feel like if the consequences were more severe, they wouldn't be so quick to do that shit.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of change that be made that needs to be made. Obviously, over the last few years, people have started to recognize the power in the black dollar. So, of course, everybody's jumping on our bandwagon. But I feel like I don't know if it's sincere or if it's some marketing shit, because I was watching something on the news and they were showing the rise in the stock market every time that happens and how that affects the stock market. People spend money after somebody. People spend money. They start buying shirts. They start buying merchandise, and they just spend money. And then, like, they looking at it from a point of view of, we need to boost the stock market. We got to kill a black dude.
Hey.
Go ahead, Roy. How you feel about it?
It's not necessarily like a frustration. You know what it is? It's like I guess it is. It's the thing is, it's something that's constantly been happening, but I guess, like just how like our world are and just how we are, like, we turn a blind eye to it. We think it's like just shop talk. But, when people see it, like in the real thing, there's the same thing that happened in civil rights, and especially with the video cameras and the way that was being revolutionized, and being able to see like these reactions, what people were actually saying. Like, there's like basically you see what's going on. Like, it's like all kinds of people, different colors and everything. They're like, oh, this shit is crazy. Like, y'all still going through the civil rights? We thought that was just bullshit. No, homie, it's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
And I at the same time, it's dope that you see people out there. You think like, oh, I'm all alone, but you're really not. My other thing is, it's like we need to get off these motherfucking cameras, man, and start taking actions. It's just my whole thing. When I seen the video, I'm not saying the situation probably could have been different, but what I am saying is that people need to get that fear out of them. It was obvious the dude was like being choked, and like there was like no urgency to like jump in, like just to cover him up, not like beat up on a cop, just like, yo, like get up off him. You know what I'm saying? Or really intervene. And I guess, that's just me, just looking from the outside. I don't know if I was in that situation or there or watching as a bystander, would I intervene or not? I kind of lean into a little bit, because sometimes, man, you got to tell a motherfucker, hey, man, post up. Like, you doing too much. And sometimes they just be in that mode, and none of those dudes didn't tap each other out. And I've been like, I've worked like kind of like law enforcement type of jobs and stuff, and that shit, like, they got to pay for it, because the shit that I work, if you doing overboard, like, homie, you gonna feel that wrath. It's just like you letting your emotions get way over a situation. First of all, motherfuckers not even violent. You looking for a counterfeiter. What counterfeiter is chopping down niggas' necks and blowing up buildings and blowing niggas' brains out? You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't like he was this violent person, but it was just him being black. His risk of being violent or whatever, maybe, but it's just all the facts and shit and just how they went in. Just they didn't play it cool. They didn't focus on their training, and they don't need to be officers. Cause I've been around officers and I've seen officers do their work, and you know what I'm saying. They don't take that shit personal. It's just business, and they just got the wrong people.
Yeah.
People get in there, man. Like you could hire a racist, you could hire a killer, a rapist. Like you won't know because they could play the game.
Yeah.
But for how long though?
Right.
It's just the thing is just as a people, just nigga, fuck these cameras. We watching people getting stomped out by 5 niggas, and we just taping. And this dude's brains is about to be oozing out on the concrete, and you ain't doing nothing. You ain't like blowing the whistle. You ain't calling on God. That's the other thing. All these religious people in the world, ain't nobody saying, God, please come down there, save this food right now. Everybody's like, what? Like, people need to wake up, man. If you're gonna be on a religious tip, be on it, and you need to call on them first, or you need to readjust yourself. And if you ain't down with that, if you don't want to see people get hurt, then get involved, man. Stop fucking sitting back and fucking taking pictures. Like, shit. Like, come on. Like, they just watched the dude die, and I'm not shitting on them at all because, we freeze up. Most of us freeze up, but, when you have a lot of opposition in your life, and if you start learning from it, like that freezing up thing, you lose some of it. And I'm not saying you lose it entirely, but you just gotta, man. It's just, man, fuck being a spectator all the time, man. Say something.
Do something.
Yeah, that's real facts, man.
Hey, man, don't steal that. Like you see, like the protesters, like it's evidence, man. Like we're not like wicked people. We telling dudes like, hey man, you putting us in a bad situation. You breaking windows, and it ain't even about that, man. We just trying to, be heard without being destructive and stuff. But then that's stupid people get in there, and it don't matter what color you are. You see what I'm saying? And it's just there are people who do get involved. Like, yo, you tripping? Get up out of here. That's not what we're trying to portray. And there's some people that just gonna be looking.
Yeah.
Just on the sideline.
So
motherfuckers that's the sideline players need to, go ahead and sit on the bench. My bad, I'm rambling.
No, it's all good. So it's all good. Parks, what were your thoughts on it?
I just feel like it's a real sad situation to deal with losing a life like that, and over $20 that some say was counterfeit, some say was. No one deserves. And when you have a narrative of, we're going to bring up everything you've ever done in the past to justify you losing your life, $20 bill. Ridiculous. And I think a lot of the spinoff comes from people seeing it and accepting it, and younger kids are into it. They are separated. We once. And so you have the youth movement involved in this protesting and things like that. And they trying to get out the house anyway because you don't want to be stuck. I think one of the major things that has really been messing with me is that you don't know how to respond to people acknowledging what you're going through for the majority of your life. So all those times that I talked about police officers pulling guns on me, stopping us for going 35 into 45 during the thunderstorm. Well, the list goes on and on for me and so many other black men that when they finally are like, oh my gosh, this really happened, you're like, are you kidding? Do you really have any empathy? Now you believe me? And there are still some who don't want to, who have it in them that this is a situation. Some of them feel like they're the biggest victims of all of it, without ever picking any cotton or going through any slavery. Don't ask me how the oppressor is now the victim, but again, people have a right to their own narrative and how they see it. What I say might be as far off from the truth in their eyes as what they say to me could be. A couple other quick things is yesterday I was in a store and a guy asked me how I was doing, and usually I'm cordial with everybody, but with masks, you can't see a smirk, thing like that you might give. Most of the time it's a head nod. But the guy says, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm all right." He said, "Oh man, it's going to get better." And I'm looking at him like, "What?" "Yeah, man, I'm with you guys. I didn't believe it before, but I stand with you. Everything's going to get better, man. Hanging." What? All I can say is thank you. How do you respond? And I want you all to maybe respond to that question in a moment of how do you respond when people are finally saying that they see and they help. Just this morning, a lady that I worked with in the past sent me a text message saying, "Thinking about it." Now, her and I communicate on Mother's Day and Father's Day, just as they Happy Mother's Day, Happy Father's Day. So to be thinking about me, a week or so prior to Father's Day was a little premature, in my opinion, because I'm like, what is this about? Then we exchanged a few words or whatever, and she was like, "Stay safe." And it's, hey, I haven't heard from you since Mother's Day. And then prior to that was last year for Father's Day. And all of a sudden, I come up as some sort of priority for that moment, knowledge, out of a sign of respect, feel for me, have you. It's like, but how do you answer to that when people are all of a sudden, hey, I've been taught to be leery all my life. Don't trust nobody until proven otherwise. So when you find out, are you setting me up for the okie doke? Is this one of those? Oh yeah, I'm about to. And then you also look at all of these, like there are a lot of CEOs or people in prominent positions, companies who are now resigning to make way for a more diverse board or a more diverse company, or I did something wrong. And like, what's that? What's your angle? Are you getting your little severance? Are you retiring? Or are you really turning it over? Business is going to go down now that you're putting some color in your position, and then they have to take on the burden and blame of trying to fix it. Like, see, we gave it to them, but what do they do with it? Those type of things are questions.
Yep.
That's a good
That's
question.
true.
That's a good question. I did not experience. I have not experienced that yet. Nobody's come to me and said, "Oh, I'm with you guys," or "I didn't believe it before." If somebody came to me and said that, I mean, I really would. It would be a very minimalistic answer. I wouldn't know, especially if I don't know the person. Like I rarely talk to people I don't know. I don't really engage in conversations like that. We're sitting at a bar or something, and time has passed, and a couple of drinks, and the drinks are flowing. Then I might be more personable. But if I'm in a grocery store, I'm on a mission. I'm trying to get in and out. I'm not trying to have a political debate with somebody or talk about something. I'm just trying to get in and get out. So my answer probably would have just been like, "Yeah, cool, whatever." I mean, it would have been something kind of nonchalant. I mean, I'm not saying that the person it was a bad thing, but really, you don't know me. You're just looking at the color of my skin, and you're going based off of that.
Me, fool.
You know what I mean? And that's just. I mean, how I felt about it. I mean, how would you guys feel about it?
You got to also be thankful that somebody is at least acknowledging. So I still have other friends who haven't brought it up at all. They haven't mentioned it. Text messages, group text, nothing. It's all quiet on the home front in terms of that. Let me say something about engine for a car or a new gun. Oh, conversation is popping. But in this instance, it's it's quiet.
People don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And like I feel like black people have been conditioned like subconsciously to just not trust a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? We hardly trust each other. So if a person says something like that to me, my response would be like, nothing new. You know, this is regular shit for black people. This is like words and all that. But I'd be like, you know, I was like, what do they really mean by that shit? You know, like I said, we've been conditioned. We don't just trust shit, especially when it comes from them. You know, sometimes there's an underlying meaning. Sometimes it's sincere. We don't know.
You don't.
If someone's finally asking, do we say, "Oh, no big deal always happens," or should we show anger about it? Should we, like, well, this happens all the time, no big deal? Because they're looking for some sort of response from us. Do we say, this sign of the times, it's been going on forever, or do we have some sort of outcry moment, like, yeah, this is bull, et cetera, to let them know that we aren't numb to it, that it's not just something that passes on with the next person, the next situation. You know what I mean? Like that. There's that. How do we deliver the message? Because you said you might be like, hey, hey man, it's another, but that might be how they felt too. So now that they're finally getting it, we need to be more vocal in terms of, yeah, you're right, and it's a tragedy, and maybe even toss it ahead, and if somebody else happened, then it's gonna be, and then maybe mothers get a little pep in their step.
You know what? That's a good point, because if you just play it off, like I said, like, hey, but yeah, I mean, I'll acknowledge it, but if you could, in a way, determine how they go moving forward. Like, I saw a black dude, and this guy might have he might have felt some, I want to say something, and he decided to you were that person that decided to talk to, and you, depending on your interaction with him, it can be a positive or a negative, how he goes forward with it or what he does. You're like, oh, that dude didn't really care, so why do I care? I can just go about my life.
I agree with that. I'm just not. I'm like you in a sense. I'm not inclined to like open up and just talk to strangers. So I just give them like a short response, and I'm not really inclined to open up. But that could be looked at as an opportunity.
You know what I mean?
That definitely could be looked at as an opportunity.
Yeah. It's tough, man. When you are put in that situation, like I like to keep myself. I'm a very private person. And it's when something like this happens that affects not just me, it affects so many different people, and it's not just black people. It shouldn't just be black people. You should see,
right.
You know what I mean? You're looking at this, and you're seeing a person who thinks it's okay to do this. He thinks he's justified in doing this. That's a whole systemic problem that's going on. And I'm not saying all officers are like that. And I don't think that every officer is racist or every white officer is racist. I don't think that. But to even knowing that you're going to be that people are recording, knowing that it's going to go viral everywhere, and you still had the audacity just to sit there and do nothing, and like this was your moment, and either you froze or you were just hell bent on proving those people wrong, because sometimes the people that the onlookers can instigate things and make it worse. You know what I mean? It's possible. Now, I'm not saying
that's an excuse, man, because that's an excuse, because like I would have got off his neck if y'all would have left me alone and stopped telling me to get off of him.
True.
And I was doing something to him. That's an excuse to me.
No. I mean, yeah. You're right. You're right. It is an excuse.
I mean, it's measured, though. I can see where I can't let these people get close to me because they might attack me. So my knee's not going anywhere while I'm dealing with you. But it still isn't. Like, if your knee's not on his back, you don't have to worry about that happening while trying to get people to move away.
Listen, man, this is how it goes, right? Because I've worked with juveniles before, like in like detention centers, and there's been situations where these fools are rumbling on visiting day. You got the parents out there. You got to break these fools up. You know what I'm saying? And you do it. And the thing is, you use enough force. You can use force, but you don't need to take it overboard. You know what I'm saying? Like you can use the force to resolve a situation, and it's nothing business. And you follow protocol, you know, get them checked out by some medical staff, and you know what I'm saying. Then you got to document everything. Boom, boom, bam. But that's what it comes down to. They picking individuals. You know what they're choosing. They think they're choosing the right ones that they going to be the stand up person and uphold these core values of the police or sheriff's department and be this upstanding citizen. And this is what they get is just, it's unfortunate. It's I mean, they're hard on their screening. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like they're not screening these people. They're not looking in the background and stuff. But at the same time, you know, they are in Minneapolis. I don't know if Minneapolis been going through a very difficult and an aggressive, like oppressive situation down there. It seems like it's been that way and it's been kept a secret, or nobody wasn't saying too much about it. It was like one of those hush hush things, and it's just one of those things that blew up. I mean, you know, it's just like you just got to have make sure you got the right individuals that know how to do the job and who not going to take it to heart. And there are situations where, yeah, you're human and you do emotionally lose some control, but you supposed to, they work with a team. There's four of those fools, and ain't nobody say, hey, ease up, man. You know, he's in handcuffs. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's on his side, his stomach.
Yeah.
Like, the shit is over. Like, this fool ain't gonna, like, all of a sudden pull out fucking 2 AKs and get to wetting everybody. It's ridiculous. The situation is under control. You already got 3 niggas on him. You on his neck. I can't breathe. Ease up. It's over. My bad, man. You got me. And that's literally the situation. And it's like, you know, you did your job. You secured them. It's over. But you get those people that take it to level 4. Take it to level 4. And I've been in situations to where I'm like, this nigga's taking it to level 4. And I'm like, yo, I'm pissed too. But I said, homie, you doing too much. You know, I had to get up on a nigga's neck before he took it to level 4. But see, that's the problem. You got people you got some people that's on the fence and they can't react, or they won't. And in that job, like, they definitely need their sticklers on people about reacting and being able to see those situations. And you've seen this going south, jump in there and sort it out. They didn't do that.
So
and
checks and balance. Checks and balances.
And dude, it's just, you know, they didn't follow their training properly. Obviously, they had some other agenda, and you got to pay the consequences of it, because the job that they have, they didn't uphold what they were supposed to do, and they killed the dude because they used excessive force when it wasn't necessary. Simple.
Yeah,
it's simple. And then it's like it's like, damn, you know, I feel for their families and stuff. I feel for them because they didn't make the right decision when they should have. You know, but see, that's what everybody else is seeing. You know, like, it ain't like it was 20 years ago. It's like you got a lot of mixed families, black, white, Hispanic. Everybody's blending. Everybody's been experiencing certain cultures. And to see, that's the other thing too. You got white people with, a black daughter or a black son, or you know what I'm saying, or a black brother or a black daughter. Like they're like all our families are integrated.
Yeah.
And so
Right.
so now, like seeing that, it's a problem too, because they they know that we're human. We're human just like everybody else, and color ain't mean nothing. And that's why you see them. They out there, man. They pissed too,
Yeah.
Right.
because yeah. And then that's the other situation where we at.
And
You
that's the
know
thing.
it.
And we wanted to get into that. I wanted to get into that too, and kind of get your opinions on, the aftermath. What, we have the rioting, the looting, the protesting.
Right.
I've personally only seen some of the. I've seen a couple peaceful protests. People going. I think
Right.
they went to. I mean, maybe a city hall or in front of the police station, and just a group of people just laid down with their arms behind their back. Peaceful. You know what I mean? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing crazy. But
Right.
I am. But they immediately turned like No Shame said. It was like they went to number 4. They turned to level 4. We're just gonna start burning shit up. We gotta, you know what I mean? And that's not cool. And
Right.
that's not cool. And I remember it was a show. It was just bear with me here. It was a show that was on HBO this year or last year. I'm sorry, called The Watchmen, and they had a subplot about back in the 50s. There was a group of people. They were not overtly the Klan, but there was a group of cops, and they were in. I think it was in Tulsa, and what they were doing were putting subliminal messages into the films that were in the black theaters. And what they wanted was for people to just, you see this, you would start to riot and you would start to just act crazy. And then, but they're perpetrating it as this is just our natural behavior. But they're orchestrating this. It was very insightful. And I'm not saying, I mean, I know it was a TV show, but it was still something that I think about and it's like, wow. Because we all been living in a black neighborhood. You see a lot more barbershops, liquor stores, gun stores than any other place, right?
Yep.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, we want you to get liquored up and shoot yourselves. And what do? Get
Oh,
liquored up.
exactly that,
Right.
homeboy.
You know what I mean? And that's it is to me the biggest issue that we have as a people. It's tough, and you brought it up earlier, the unity, the lack of unity, the lack of it's prevalent. You see it, and you see when things like this happen, our organization, it is not the best because we cannot police enough people or have people to stop. It's like, look, this is going to be peaceful. We want to be heard. We are upset, and we are upset. But going to our own neighborhood and messing up and rob and looting and all that stuff and causing riots is not always the answer. We need better organization, and that is the problem. I think right now, in my opinion. I'm not a professional journalists and anything like that. I'm just saying, in my opinion, the lack of of leadership in the community is it's obvious, and we see, and all of our black leaders, they get taken down even before they get a chance to do something. They get taken down, and it always casts. And then we just kind of and we are set for a little bit, and then it just kind of goes away.
Well, not necessarily,
Right.
because I get your premise, but I also feel like they get taken away prior to reaching maybe their, because if they weren't a threat, they wouldn't be taken. Somebody had to acknowledge and see present power and potential future power and say, we've had enough. We better get him up out of here before this gets out of here. So I agree with what you're saying. I think that it's looked at a little different. And I could be wrong. Like, people have to recognize the leader in you before your leadership is an issue. Because if they feel like you're nothing or a soldier, you don't matter. They can take your life, whatever. But if, you are a Martin Luther King, you are a leader in society, that there could be FBI files on you or something like that, where people are watching to make sure that you don't get out of hand and can get gunned down before you.
Yeah. Now, we've all we've all been around almost 40 years, and I think it was No Shane that was saying, it was 40 years ago, it was still going on. And are we going to be doing the same thing? I remember my uncle telling me he had to run home because he lived in Alabama. He had to run home at night because if he didn't, the Ku Klux Klan would get him. And you know what I mean? And that's just like, really, like, wow. And it's not like that today. It's not as overt, but it's still going on. Don't get it twisted. It's still going on, and and I have friends in all races and creeds. I'm very blessed to be able to have friends and people that I consider family that are not black and all different types and all different races. And but that's me. Not everybody has that. Not everybody wants that. And when you see stuff like this, and when you see a video of a blatant injustice, you want to lash out. You want to, but how can you do it in a manner where it's going to be where your lashing out won't overshadow the catalyst? A man lost his life in police custody that he should not have lost his life. It should not have happened. What can we do?
We've done a lot.
What do we do?
We've done a lot over the years. We've done so many things. I mean, I guess people feel like they were out of options, or they wanted to show a sign that they're more serious than they may have thought they were. I don't know. I mean, you can't really tell people how to react. Everybody's gonna have their own reaction. You gotta let people, get it out however they feel like they should get it out. Now it definitely has been some things that I didn't agree with. I wouldn't do it. Made no sense to me. But I can't get mad at them for how they choose to let it go. I mean, a lot of these places are sustainable, and they don't really care about the black community like that. I'm not saying it makes it right, but I'm saying it makes it a whole lot easier. Now, if you got a mom and pop shop or somebody's personal car, that's different. But I definitely understand it.
Yeah, tell that to J.R. Smith.
I would. Yeah, I seen that the guy tried to mess up his car. I mean, I definitely understand it. I don't agree with it. I'd probably be more inclined to be like, look, If y'all want to go fuck some shit up, go to them cops' house, or go to the mayor, go to somebody like, you know, that's directly involved. You know, not to some random ass store. You know what I mean? Like, go make them personally feel it. If that's what you want to do, and that's how pissed off you are, and you feel like you want to do something, go do that. You know what I mean? Like,
I get what you.
that never happens, but I understand. But I think people are like that, especially a lot of people that's angry. I'm sure they thought about it because I know that they went to the guy's house and it was surrounded by the cops.
Yeah, no, what were you saying, Parks?
But
you deal with people. You're not going to go at someone who are looking around who are unarmed. Now, when the militia show up with guns, cops aren't even fire. They have the ability to fire back. People aren't going to that man's house to loot the house or destroy the house when the police are there and they can be killed. That fear of death will keep you from going and doing something that you may want to do. Whereas when there is no threat, you may go above and beyond what you would normally do because there's nothing there to stop you. You don't have fear.
Right.
And even with what No Shame earlier, I've been in situations where, you know, you see grown men. I've worked in a school where a grown man was trying to stop a kid who wanted to fight. And he, probably 320, was laying on top of this kid. And the kid is struggling. People have out-of-body experiences where they are tunnel vision on what they're doing, and they don't even see that they have gone overboard. It takes someone to be like, hey, I got him. Let him up. And even the kid was still raging.
Right.
Still raging, still trying to get at this other kid, but he didn't really want to smoke. He just was disrespected. His pride was hurt. I said, we can get back to my office quicker if you turn around and walk that way. And he turned around and walked. I've had kids about to attack teachers, and you just got to know how to coax them away. But again, would I be willing to jump out there in front of a police officer doing that versus a teenager that I know could possibly hurt me, but I don't think he can get me? Like but I have a relationship where we're not going to that point where we're going to fight, and I'm trying to prevent you from getting into it where you get expelled, and then he don't even know he's trying to pick with an ex-Marine. Young bro, chances are in his stance he's gonna lay you down, but you so enraged that you feel like you Superman and you've been wrong.
Right.
So I guess I say all that to just say sometimes when we have that fear that something bad can happen, he's back. But when we feel like we have the upper hand in the situation, we're all for dominance.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. And I mean, and that makes sense. And I don't know what and getting, back to the looting. Why do that type of stuff in your? Why do it to a random business? And
right,
because what's going to happen is that business might not come back. Now,
dude, exactly.
Especially after coronavirus.
Yeah, I mean everybody was hurting, and okay, and let me pause and kind of bring something else to it. How much of this outlash, I mean, like the backlash, do you think had to do with people just wanting to get out because they were quarantined for months and they just wanted to get out and just kind of let things go a little too far? How much of that do you think it was going on?
No, I'm sure it's a factor, man. I'm sure it's definitely a nice percentage.
It almost sounds. It was like the perfect storm. It's almost planned. Sounds like a perfect plan. I mean, put their ass in the house for however long, and then do some shit like this. Everybody and their mama going outside, and everybody got some reason to be pissed off. Pent up aggression, sitting in the house, especially if you're in a bad relationship or whatever the case may be.
You lost your job.
You're stuck in the house. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, stuck in the house, and now some shit like this happened, people are furious. And I mean, like...
Shout out to the Muslims looting because they upset with their woman.
Huh?
Shout out to the Muslims looting because they upset with their woman. They can't stand her cooking no more. They over there robbing Kroger for good food. They go into the grocery store just stealing the Primus of ribs. You don't put something good on this grill?
Man.
Exactly.
I mean, seriously though. I mean, it's crazy. Like, I mean, I remember the riots, the L.A. riots. Was it 92?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
Yeah, 90s too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, 92.
Okay. And they burned the whole block down. And
Yeah.
I used to get my hair cut in that block. I used to live maybe 3 or 4, like I think 4 blocks down. I used to get my hair cut. Done. That whole block was done. And I'm like, wow. Like, and none of those businesses, and most of them never came back. And a lot of them were black owned. And that was the killer. And to me, it's just like when you do that, you're not winning. You're not. You're
Exactly.
you know what I mean. You're showing that you're upset. You're lashing out, but you're doing it, and you're demonstrating it, and to me, the wrong way, and in the wrong
What is
area.
winning? What is winning? Winning is different from you. Talk about 92. Dr. Dre sitting in my living room, calm and collected, got a VCR from the Compton swap meet or the Slauson swap meet. He wasn't complaining. Now looting for a VCR seems obsolete and idiotic, but at the time, Dre was telling you, I got me a VCR out of that mug. So tangible things that you can get could be beneficial. Be long term or short term. Maybe a case of beer might be all you need to get you through the rest of the night, or a television, or whatever it is that you
I saw
need
people getting
for something
couches.
you don't have.
Yeah.
Again, hey, when the last time you bought a couch? And the last time you bought one, was it expensive? So if I'm getting an $800 piece that I can sit down for 10, 20 years, perhaps I'm doing pretty good. That's a long-term investment right there.
Right.
I'm not saying I would do it, but I understand.
I understand, but at the same time, the situation is that listen, the whole thing. What used to make America great is that everybody came together under one nation. Under one nation. Okay, man. Close my door, please. Dang. Came under one nation, united under God. We have long forgot God and left that brother way in the dust. The thing is that a lot of the stuff, man, is just spiritual, and it's just like everybody's forgotten. Some people know the deal and they just withhold information. At the same time,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you putting yourself, so basically you're overreacting. You're not seeing the whole picture. So you going, first of all, trash your community. If we already in the situation to where the coronavirus is in, so now you trashed everything. Now you really can't get supplies. And then on top of that, people are already losing their job, and people, they're working because, they know that they're making a difference by helping other people, and that need supplies or need certain things, and you cutting them off from a job, man. What about them?
But in a situation where you don't have a job, looting is essential work.
Yeah, and I'm not hating it, but I'm saying you're like basically you're destroying like part of your house. It's like you like, oh, I'm gonna burn down the garage, and now you can't park your car in it, and you need to park it in because you don't have a top on your on your car, and now it's raining.
They don't feel like they're burning their stuff down. In many cases, it's a mistreatment in those places. Or we got into CVS, but there's a 1.5. So if everything is insured and it doesn't belong, unless I literally burn down my own house, not affected. I can catch an Uber to the next one. The homie can give me a ride. The mentality that I'm seeing is like, we can tear it up because we can go to the next one. It's an abundance of Target. Oh no, we don't have Target. We go to Walmart. Oh no, we go to another store that is similar. There's no Walgreens no more. Oh my gosh, we're going to Albertsons. We're going to. That's the way they're looking at it. I get it.
Yeah, no, and I get it too. But at the same time, man, it's just like you got to hold yourself accountable, man. Like people need to just get off their high horse, and like you're not the only individual, and you have to be able to see things in the true perspective. You see, the whole thing is like our perspective is mixed up because we're so entrusting in the world, and we're so confused and deceived, and the way things are defined. You could say, oh, I'm gay. You can mean that you like the same sex, or you could be happy. It's all these things, and everybody don't know which way is left and right. And it's like it comes to a point to, man, like you got to be held accountable for yourself, and from a spiritual perspective, you got to hold yourself to a higher standard, because you just can't constantly walk around and just be like, oh, that's just how it is, because you're deceiving yourself, because you're doing more harm than anything, because you're choosing not to grow, and you choosing to live in a facade, knowing that is not the truth. And that's the other thing. That's just, I'm just, it's like, you got to look at all different perspectives. It's just conversation. That's
So
all.
look, so this is okay. So going back to '92. So
Yeah.
during '92, we had moved to a city called Lawndale. You know about that. We were down the street from me. And you remember they built that Toys R Us over there, where the Best Buy and stuff is over there.
Yeah,
like Ocean Gate.
Ocean Gate, right? So
yeah, Ocean Gate. Yeah,
the
I see
Toys
that.
R Us, Toys
Ocean
R
Gate.
Us
Yeah.
was over there by itself, kind of in the back area, new developing area, but it was the only major store there. So we were in an apartment complex, maybe just up the street, and the rioting had started to come down. I think they rioted at the Hawthorne Mall, and they were like, "Uh-oh." So a lot of the tenants in the building were all like, we all kind of gathered out and was like waiting, like like just sitting outside of our apartments, like listening. People coming out with the news briefs, like, "Oh, they're going here, they're going there." And I remember one of the tenants was like, "Yeah, if they make it, we're going to that Toys R Us. We're about to tear it down." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" I'm 12 years old though. I'm like, I want some toys, and I'm only thinking about the here and now. I'm only thinking about, I'm going to get a whole bunch of toys today, but what about tomorrow? What about the next time? You know what I mean? Because what if we tear that down and we no longer can go there? Or they rebuild it and they jack the prices up to where we can't even afford it. So who's it really benefiting to do that? Once, as I got older, I thought, I thought about it. And that's how I see it now as a business owner, and a person who has property and assets to protect. I understand, but there's other ways and means to affect change. You don't have to always do that, but I understand your part. Your what you were saying, Parks, too. It's another one can be right down the street. I don't have to worry. I can just go there. That's cool, too, until the next thing happens. What are we doing to stop it so this can be the last time? That's my point. You know what I mean? Because, another 10 years, now now we got to go 50 miles because we didn't tore this one up because, got murdered.
Is it on a stop?
What'd you say?
Many people are putting this situation who are have been dealing with. We've done so much of what we could and what we were told by others, including our own, to help stop it. Change your appearance, how you talk, pull your pants up, stay at home, don't do this, don't do that, and these things to happen. So it's bigger than hey, we can't control at this point how they respond and how they feel about us, how they deal with us. So we can have influence on it, to. It's like when a guy says to me, "Oh, I got you." I mean, what do I do? Do I give him a list of things that he could do to show his words by having actions, or do I tell him, "Hey, man, go get me a gift certificate for $1,000 from Target and hustle him out like I'm a Nigerian calling to hustle people for money"? How are we in charge of telling these people stop? We want them to stop, but again, we can be in our homes, sleep, playing video game, going for a jog. All those things up, and to say, well, what are we doing about it? What can we do? When the system is designed, comes to housing, banking, to school, to healthcare, it's law. Who do we vote in? Maybe, but some people don't believe in the power of voting because you're picking your oppressor in the eyes of some people. So to me, it still is like, how do we fix this when we ain't the problem? But again, if something breaks in my house, I'm responsible for replacing it or fixing it. And I guess that's the mantra we take on. But the other thing, some of this is out of my hands, bro. Because we've been telling you for years, it's on you to make the changes to your people, to reprimand them, to punish them for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. When you sit back and think about it, it's you're right. Somebody going for a jog and getting pulled over and harassed by an officer, and it turns into something similar to this. What can you do? You know what I mean? What did? That's a good question, and I think that's the question that a lot of people are asking themselves. What is it? And it's been ingrained in society for years and years and years. And yes, I'm not saying it's not better. I'm not saying that it's from where my mom and her siblings had to deal with is close. We have a lot better, in my opinion, than they did. There was no whites only or colored only, water fountains, stuff like that. But it's still a long way to go. And I don't, and you know what? The question and my thing is, I don't know why. I really don't know why, and that's the frustrating part to me. I
don't
just
think
don't know
we
why.
could be responsible. I don't not to cut you, but I don't think we should be responsible for fixing. I think we should be responsible for telling how to us. Because when you start to say, no, that doesn't fly, I don't like this, I don't like that, holds people accountable for their actions. Now, they can ignore, or they can now know and say, okay, this was a mistake that I made, this was a decision that I made, and I need to change it, or, oh, well. But again, as much as we want this, many allies as there are coming out and developing and flourishing, cocoon-like state, there are still very who don't see it and don't want to see it, but they feel like, give me something, taking away from them there. And so when that happens, you'll never have that group. You feel like it's under, because for me to get mine, that might be costing you yours. In actuality, it's but in the world of jobs, could be start treating black people fairly. Who doesn't get the job? And if that's in your family, are you willing to make that sacrifice? I talked about earlier. The folks on those boards established. Serena Williams' husband dropped off of a board and told Reddit to put somebody of color in that. But he's swimming in her money. And I don't know about his own pockets because I'm not counting, but he can. When someone on your job is willing to step back so you can get the promotion, or to say, you know what, hey, let me step back so that that's when it's something different. Until then, it's always going to be a situation where taking or you feel like I owe you, and my tax dollars have to that I personally did not to you, even though I reap the benefits of it on the other side of the game.
Yeah. Okay.
That'll be a great day.
Exactly.
Okay. So
You know,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Ahmad.
that'll be a great day. You know, and those type of people, you know, I feel like if they are out there and exist, that they could possibly be already working in motion, not towards like black or white, but you know, such and such deserves this promotion over me. You know, like how many people are really going to say that? You know, I mean, if we get to that point, man, that'd be beyond my comprehension. Like that's something that I definitely never thought we could see. But I do feel like we can get there, but it takes effort. You know, for anything to change, regardless of the politicians and things of that sort, it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of honesty. You know what I mean? Because, you know, their methods are not sincere or anything like that, then obviously it's going to foil the whole plan. Now everybody's on our bandwagon now, trying to like join the walk and let me help you guys, and we want to stand with you, and that's all fine and dandy. But I've seen people getting solicited to riot and loot. You know what I mean? So obviously that tells me that everybody out there is not out there with good intentions.
That's the thing.
You
That's
know,
whack.
been putting pallets of bricks out there. They're trying to incite violence. Like it's just been like large blocks of bricks popping up around town. People been taking pictures of it. People been videotaping people soliciting them to like riot and loot or break a window. And it's like there's another narrative out there that they're trying to control.
Yeah, that's a whole.
It's a lot of infiltrators. You know what I mean? And I remember reading the autobiography of Malcolm X back in the day, and he was talking about how this is like after he left after he left the nation and he was doing his own thing. He was talking about how he wanted to like create some mafia of his own and do things like that. And he was saying that he would be open to, you know, white people and other people making contributions, but they couldn't like get involved. And he was like, before we integrate and learn how to like unite between everybody else, we got to fix what's going on in our own home. We can't unite with each other. How the hell are we going to unite with everybody else?
Yeah.
But those times are different. Now we have more, like he was saying earlier, now we have more interracial families. Those times have grown into something different, you know, for these days. But like I said, everybody out there is not out there for a positive reason. Some people out there that's seriously trying to like make it worse than what it really is, and they trying to turn it into some violent thing, and they trying to tarnish our legacy. So yeah, there was a lot of looting and stuff going on, but I'm not gonna say it was no blacks, but it wasn't all blacks.
Oh,
it wasn't just us.
No, it definitely wasn't all black. It definitely was not all black.
Yeah.
You know, now, so how do you feel? Like you talked about people.
I seen some folks, real quick before you move on, I saw some folks running out of a Van store.
Hello?
On a clip. They were running out of a Van store.
Say that one more time.
There were some people running out of a Vans store.
Fuck, you're breaking up, bro.
Shoes.
Oh, the Vans. People running out of Van stores.
They were running out of a Vans store, and they saw the police. They just started dropping things. And one of the dudes looked like Shaggy off of Scooby-Doo, saying "zoinks."
Yeah, I can hear you.
So there was a guy. There was a couple people running out of a Van store, looting, and ran into the police on the way out. One dude dropped all 8 pairs of shoes that he had. It looked like Zoinks, Scooby-Doo, Shaggy, running with some thong flip-flops on. The cop batted a bag out of a girl's hand, and they weren't, you know, they don't have the same hue as I do. And so, like you said, it's not all us. There are other people doing it, but we get a lot of notoriety because it is supposed to be our issue. But other folks is on the come up too.
Definitely. So, okay, you were talking about the bandwagon. Now I just got a tweet, a notification from a tweet that was sent out, and I'm gonna read the tweet before I say who it was. And if you already know, then that's fine. I commit to listen, learn, and take action. I am dedicated to end the disenfranchisement of Black America. I will personally donate to the following organizations. Please join me in supporting Color of Change, Fair Fight Action, the NAACP, and the EJI org. So what do you, when you see something like that, what do you think?
Right,
I didn't see that online.
I don't take it personal. Someone's trying to make a change, trying to use whatever gift that they was blessed with to bless somebody else. And in actuality, that's how we're supposed to be walking on here. Like if however I'm blessed with or my gifts, or I'm supposed to use those gifts, and at the same time share that my blessings that I get to the next person. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you just need that other connection. And that's why we got to interact with each other. If we just interact with each other, man, it'd be a different story. Basically, we're supposed to be walking around feeding off each other's blessing, like you coming up and I'm coming up. That's literally supposed to be the exchange. So everybody, they constantly feel blessed, and they won't feel so inadequate, and they'll know who they are. But it's so far from it, man. But I think it's cool. If you want to use that, use it. Be a blessing to somebody else. I'm down for that all day.
So yeah, that and I'm gonna read one more. The murder of George Floyd is heartbreaking. We must all work together to fix the problem. I'm praying for all of us. God bless. # Black Lives Matter. When it's a picture, and he also tweeted out a picture of George Floyd. The first one that I read was from Leonardo DiCaprio, and the second one was from Mark Wahlberg. Two prominent white actors.
Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark, gets a pass.
Dudes are real, from what I know,
they seen him.
They're real good dudes, real stand-up dudes. Yeah. They've been doing that for a long time. This is not the first time they did that. So,
right.
Yeah, Leonardo always been stand-up. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? From my knowledge, I mean, obviously I haven't met him personally, but just from things I've heard, definitely it feels good to get that support. And it feels good to know that we're not the only ones upset, and that people are standing in solidarity with us, and that now people are coming out, like the NFL, Richard Goodell's coming out saying we were wrong about Kaepernick and the whole kneeling thing. I mean, like I said, it's like a big overpour right now. So it's kind of hard to say who's sincere and who's not, because some people are just jumping on the train right now. It's like when a certain team goes to the championship, all of a sudden everybody becomes a fan. So it's like,
yeah, but
it's like.
Go ahead, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, so I'm just saying, like, it's just like, it's really hard to decipher who's sincere and who's not. But I mean, that's all good. Time is going to reveal all of that. We just gotta, we just can't be naive out here.
Exactly.
And we gotta watch out for it. So go ahead.
So, isn't it ironic that they blackballed Kaepernick for kneeling at the national anthem, and because he was trying to bring attention to the violence and the unjust deaths of black people in the hands of a police officer. And now we fast forward a few years later, and an officer is literally kneeling on a black man and murdered him. Like, I'm
very, very ironic. It's very ironic.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like, really? And people are still trying to make that, because Drew Brees just came out with something talking about, I still don't condone kneeling at the flag. It was never, I don't want to disrespect the flag. It was never about disrespecting the flag or the national anthem. It was never about that. And everybody, they took that and they moved it to a narrative where they can try to control it and make it something where, this is we don't want to talk about that, but this is what we think it is. So this is more important to us, and we got all the money, and this is what we're gonna say.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow. I sat back and thought about it. I was like, that is some shit right there.
It was extremely symbolic.
You know what I mean? And he's looking, and I mean, nobody looks good in this. Nobody. I don't care. I'm not, because I'm upset, and it's not good for anybody. I won't say Kaepernick looks good. Nobody looks good in this because somebody had to lose their life. And nobody should be losing their life to prove a point. You know what I mean? You shouldn't get to that point. It should not. We should be, and in 2020, we should be better. We should be better. And that is something that people do not want. They want status quo, and they want betterment for themselves. And I'm say that, and I'm also going to say that's how it seems and that's how it feels when you look at it from the perspective of a black man that's out in the world, that's had opportunities to see different things, not just in the hood, but just experience a lot of different things. It's still, you still walk into a room. I still walk into a room in certain places and be like, do you really belong here? You know what I mean?
Wow.
Do you? I'll never forget this. Last year, I'm about to board a plane. I'm going to get on this plane, and they're calling. The normal. They're calling if there's any military service, any children, people that need help. And this guy, because he knows first class is coming up next, so he jumps right in front of me because I'm standing up in front. And they were like, first class. And so I'm like, excuse me, I got to go. Because he wasn't in first class. He just knew that I wasn't.
Wow.
But
suck it.
You know what I mean? So
welcome to microaggressions.
Got him.
Oops.
Excuse me. And I made
Excuse me, sir.
And I made sure that I had my mimosa in my hand when he boarded the plane, and I was like, there you go. And I took a nice sip when he walked by. Don't play yourself. You know what I mean?
Lifestyles of the rich and famous, Robert Leach.
Those moments are life.
On first class.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, look, man. I'm not about to cut a promo, but it's just we have to do better. We have
cut
to
it. Cut it.
Right.
Woo, cut it.
I'm just saying.
You need to cut it.
It's just like, come on, man. We've come way too far, and we continuously get lulled to sleep. It seems like, to think that everything's gonna be okay. And they talk to us like, oh, we're listening. We're gonna donate. We're gonna take care of it. Just shh. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry. We're gonna take care of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then
I get you. I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
And then you just kind of get it, and we get lulled to sleep. And then it's just like, oh, they're asleep. Now we can really fuck some shit up.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that.
Right.
And we just got to be quiet about it. We got to be quieter about it. We don't want to wake them. You know, and it's something wrong with that. And it's an opinion. I'm not saying that is what's happening. It's an opinion, and I'm not. You know what I mean? It's just like, look, but it feels that way when I think about it. It's like that's what's going on.
It does.
You know,
it does.
So and how do I affect change? How do I do things? And I live my life the best way that I can, and the way that I do the things that I want to do, and I want to build a pathway for young people to come behind me and say, hey, you could do this. You know, not everybody can pick up a football or a basketball, or not and not everybody has it in them to be able to go to school, or fortunate enough to be able to go to school and become lawyers and things like that. But there are ways where you could be a productive part of society, where you don't have to fall into the status quo. You don't have to just be another statistic. You could take what you're given, what your art, and make it valuable to society. But
Like
you got to
being
want to
an
do it.
We
influence.
have to, we have to promote our talents and be in places where typically we aren't seen. My older brother, he works in Detroit, at the Detroit Public School. So you have a predominantly black educated body of and a predominantly black workforce there. I've traditionally worked in suburban areas. Started in an at-risk place in the suburban area, and then I went to other areas, and it's predominantly white. Again, I've talked to you all before. I'm one of 2% of all teachers. So actually seeing me in that role is shocking for a lot of people because I'm their first encounter with a black male educator. I had kids who's like, if he's a teacher, I'm a 5-star general, because they couldn't believe it. I had parents who said, the psychologist said that my son wouldn't be a good fit in the classroom. He's a teacher. Doctor never talked to me, never knew anything about it. And so they switched the kid. Oh, now, just a good fit was another word for black man shouldn't be. The ironic part about it was that his teacher would come to me and ask me to help her teach the content that she had to teach to the class. So vicariously, he's learning through me because I'm her, but she's a better fit for him. And so when you're in first class, that's great. I don't have that first class money yet. When I get there, people will see it. If you're a police officer, whatever you are, uphold high moral compass activities, do what you need to do to show that it's possible for us to do it in terms of those who are coming for you, but to have people come and see you do it in a favorable manner with their, because as long as it looks like what they expect, anything else deviates from, there's always going to be some, you know what I mean? That's just the way it goes. So we have to, in some cases, put ourselves in those positions. You might have to be the only, to be the best you can be, and open up the door for everyone's. They talk about mirrors and windows. We want to see ourselves, but we also want to put our, so that's a mirror. But we also want people to look out the window and see us well, because usually we're underrepresented in places we actually could thrive and be great. But it's all discouraging because you don't want to be the only one, because the only one has to deal with all the black and drama with the overwork. In my case, we'll give all the black boys to Parks. He can handle them. And then I get judged based on the behavior of the kids that nobody wants to have. So my evaluation looks different than everyone else, but I'm still held to the same high standards of everyone who had students who were more prepared to be students, who had prerequisite previous experience, et cetera, et cetera. So I would always get the lowest group of kids in the district, and then we make the most progress, and folks are like, well, what is he doing? It's not your business. I'm teaching. But there's not a lot of me. So in whatever we do, we have to make sure that we do it with pride, that we, of course, make our mama proud, and that we set the example so that others might want to follow behind us in this position.
Yes, and definitely, I definitely I got to make Lady proud. I I even asked her the other day. I said, I don't care, as long as you're proud of me, then I'm okay. And she said, I am. So I'm good. So I'm good.
And we all are, man. I'm still paying my mom back for the investments had put into us when we were kids. It's never going to be. And I want her to yield more and more just because of the fact that she invested so much.
And I feel the same way. I you know what? I don't have any kids, and my mom spoiled my sister and I. And I always say that I want to try to spoil my mom like she spoiled me. and do things for her and help her out. But there's no way that I can repay that debt. But I'm going to try, and do my best
to show you that I understand.
But it's true. To really,
Martin used to have all the gadgets and shit. Mom used to hook you up.
Oh man, my sister and I were spoiled. Like,
I remember that shit. Y'all motherfuckers used to have a lot of shit. I used to be like, damn, we got all the games and shit.
Hey, we had 2 TVs in the living room so I could play video games, and had a game system on both TVs. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was ridiculous.
We used to be over there having wars.
Oh man.
Must be nice.
Okay. All right. So then we're not okay, look. MMB was a spoiled kid, and I'm doing my thing now. Okay, that's fine. But whatever. Yes, I can't fly first class. I do drive Mercedes.
Mama's baby. They named Mama's baby.
Yeah. Yes. I do Ferragamos. I do have property. Yes.
Oh Lord.
Woo. Yes. All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Going back to your fat, your Mercedes.
You know what I mean? So that's fine.
Loan me $1 million, man. Loan me $1 million.
I've been blessed. And I've definitely been blessed to have long lasting friendships that become brotherhood, and I've been blessed to be able to be put in positions to do things. And I think that what I'm saying, what I'm thinking about is that, I'm sitting here wondering why or when I need to go out there and do some things that's going to make me feel better for my community, and I need to go out there and affect some change. I think that because I'm like I said, I'm a very private person, and I'm not really, I don't like attention like that. But I think sometimes you need to kind of come out of the shadows, and you need to make some things and make yourself heard, and for people to know that they're not alone, first and foremost, and that there is a way. There are alternatives to the quote unquote status quo of living or coming from certain areas, and also a lot of those stories where you hear people, we were living like blah 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 blah. We weren't living high on a hog all the time. My mom busted their ass to do that. She worked, and it's hard work. That's the one thing that I got from mom. Just work hard. Just work hard.
So
and things.
So maybe you mentor in terms of younger people. Could be picking an age group. It could be volunteering at a school on your days off, or Boys and Girls Club or YMCA, or going to an apartment complex that has one of those buildings for the tenant there, and talking to them. Me working in schools, my last year at the high school, I had 20 African American males that I mentored once a week on Fridays for an hour, and I would bring up a subject and we would all talk about it. They never had anyone do that. They never got a chance to know kids outside of their friendship circle and be able to build. Many of them depended on other nationalities.
Yeah,
assignments and copied it. And I'm like, there's enough knowledge in this room. Oh man, I'm struggling in Spanish. Your man's over here is in Spanish 3 AC. He can help you conjugate them verbs. You don't have to copy off such and such when you can learn it from him. Now, hopefully he ain't copying off, but you don't make it to Spanish 3 AC copying off people that well. And so I would advise you, if you have the opportunity, to pick some young men. And even though I don't work at the school, I reach out to them all the time. And they ask me for letters of recommendation. It's ironic sometimes because of the fact that some of the folks that are still working at the school who could do those things, they aren't doing it. And the kids are upset about it. But, I'm still available to help them. So I would encourage all of us who's listening, find some youth Don't always have to be your own color, but people who have like-minded thoughts, and get them underneath your wing. They need to see that, hey, here I am. I got a nice house, 4 bedrooms, 3-car garage, square feet, and I went to school. I sell dope, 5'9", no jump shot, and no left hand. I played the trombone. But I was able to accumulate slowly a couple nice Chevys. They sleepers with the big vet motors and all that. And I'm not bragging, but I'll put a...
Oh, you are bragging. That's a humble brag.
That I'm not out here living in my mama's basement or in an apartment. I got my stuff. And it was because I wasn't the smartest. I worked hard. And when I went, I became able to express my intelligence. So, for all of us on this and everyone who's listening, get with the youth. Tupac, he said that I will plant the seed that influences change in the world. And so as someone who was born on the same day as him, that has been a calling of mine to plant the world. And kids are bamboo trees. I want to say for the first 4 years, they get their root system together. They have minimal growth. In that 5th year, they grow up to 80 to 100. So you have to invest. They're going to mess up and do wrong. They're going to make unwise decisions, but so do we. Have to pour into youth, because those are the people who are eventually going to be handing you your last glass of Simply Lemonade. You want water or you want... I'm going out with some lemonade because I done did right by these kids.
Yeah. And
Right.
And I agree. I really do agree, and I think that we have been talking about it, and I think it's just time to put stuff in action. I have been talking about doing that, starting a program and things like that. So hopefully in the next year, we'll be able to start talking about that, and I'm
on board.
Show you and let you guys know. I know, I appreciate it, because it takes a village. It's a whole old cliche, but it really does. It's always better to hear perspectives different than your own, and you might not be the same color, but like-minded, like you said, and that's I feel the same way. I have people, brothers that I consider, or people that I consider brother that are Palestinian, white, Hispanic.
My
really
best friend is Palestinian.
It runs the gambit. You know what I mean? And it's crazy that. Oh, and I'm sorry, Filipino, because my advisor who told me I never thought about, when you're in a position, you're like, hey, you can buy a house, and somebody never sat me down and said, you know what, you can buy apartments. I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do that. I thought that you had to be a business. I don't know an individual who can do that in certain ways, and I was like, cool, and that's what I started doing. Sweet. And and I want to be able to share that, because it's not difficult, but it's not easy either. So if I can mitigate some of those pain points and help streamline your process, I'm down. And if you're really about your business, that's the whole thing. And when you're dealing with youth, they don't really know, but just showing them, you hope that you are giving that seed enough nutrients and water so it can grow and be a big productive tree that can branch off and produce limbs that will branch off and be productive as well. And that's to me more satisfying than anything. Being able to train and develop has always been one of my passions at work. I love to do that, so I definitely want to take that outside and do that for the youth moving forward. So hopefully, again, I know Parks is on board. I know all of you guys are on board. If I ask you to.
Oh yeah,
man, I ain't on board for that shit. You tripping? Nah, I got you.
But we
Hey, everybody got to give back. There's a lot of people that gave to us, so we got to give back.
and that's the
Nah,
thing.
I'm playing. Yeah.
Pay it forward, man, and that's the real deal. Like seriously, I'm all for it. Like that. So yeah.
One other thing I want to consider, or I want to share, and I feel like I'm almost dominating, and I don't want to feel like that. But we're having a healthy conversation. Is we need to start getting our own mentors, talking to them, because one thing that I learned from listening to this album when I was out in Vegas by the Fat Cat Players, where a guy had a spoken word thing. He said that older people consider themselves, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing, used to bees, and we have to turn them useful bees. He was talking about bees and pollinating, so on and so forth. And so used to can turn into useful bees. So do you have mentors who can bestow knowledge upon you that can make them feel great about sharing with you and others, pass down that information so that they can, because my mentor, my OGs was in their 70s. And they don't know how much time they have left. So they are, I want to almost desperate to share. And then they love so hard. They guide so well. And they, like my mentor, he's on some like, I call him or he called me and it's a 2-minute conversation. But he gives me so much concentrated information in 2 minutes that I'm begging him to stay on the phone because it's so useful. So who do we have that we can go to, especially as Black men, when we have that anger pent up inside us, that frustration? Who can we listen? Who can, calm our savage beast, so to speak, or send us in that right direction? So who do you have? Because I'm 41, 42 next week or so. I'm the OG to the young cats. But who's the double OG, triple OG that you get that information or from that you disseminate to those who are coming up? I don't want to say underneath, but off of your branch. So who are our mentors, and how do we highlight them so that they can finally feel useful? Because so many of them have so much to say, nobody listens, even their own kids.
Yeah.
Think that something.
No, you're right. You're right. And
Yep.
you're right. That's key because mine just turned 74 2 days ago. So one of my mentors he just turned 74, and I learned so much from him, and I want to be able to bestow that to the younger generation. If it's not my own children, then I want to be able to just give it to the youth because I think it's beneficial. He really got me involved in financing and looking in the stocks, and I was, something again I never really thought about, and it was eye opening, and it was good, and it's another way out. You know what I mean? So I definitely understand what you're saying, and you want to give them their due because, to me, you never stop learning. If you stop learning, then you're not living because there's always things that are going to be going on, and keep an open mind and be accepting of new experiences. Every day on this planet is a blessing, man, and we take it for granted, and we all do, and it's when it gets down to it, you hate to have tragedy spark these kind of emotions, but it always does, and I want to change that. I definitely want to. I definitely want the actions to speak louder than these tragedies. Not to take away from them, but I just don't. I just want to not have as many tragedies as. I don't want to have any tragedies. Just say it like that. Perfect world, whatever. But I think you guys get the gist of what I'm saying.
Right, yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, we smell you, son. We smell you.
You got to give back, man. I mean, like you said, you got mentors who became before you to help you out. It's only right to do it. It's just about finding somebody who appreciates that and, shows that appreciation through their actions. It's hard. Like, we disconnected with a lot of our youth because the youth are the number one targeted out there. I mean, they're brainwashed consistently. They're very naive. So it's hard to meet one that is on a different path and that understands life a little bit better. It's a little bit more mature than his peers or her peers. But and I do have youth around me that I could be influenced to, but they have the wrong mentality, so they want to allow me to help them out. So it's hard because I got to just sit back and watch them struggle, but that's the path they chose.
Who is they?
Huh?
Who is they have the wrong mentality? Who are you referring to?
I'm referring to I'm referring to brainwashed youth because there's a lot of youth that's being preyed on and that follow. There's a lot of followers out there, and there's a lot of youth
all
that
they know.
Right, that's because they don't have the right influences, and it's also because they're very closed-minded.
But that's what
exactly. That's my point.
You are there to attempt to enlighten and fertilize, and you probably won't see me. I've been working with kids all year, and they said minimal. And then when I was gone, man, we miss you, man. It ain't the same without you being here, man. We don't even want nobody else but you. Now they let me go with the job. It's not like I was like, I don't want to be here no more. They let me go. And so none of them are going to come to you fixed and ready. It's very, very few do, and those you can really utilize to help to bring in the other ones in terms of old school Jackson, catch the remainders. They're not going to come ready. They have been dealing with trauma and things like that. And you may have dealt with it too. I mean, not everybody had 2 TVs in the living room and all the video games and wanted more from Toys R Us.
Okay, really,
shout out M&B. But what I'm saying,
championship,
shout out to the lady. shout out to the lady, Griselda Blackwell,
Blanco.
But what I'm saying is, they're not going to be ready. Most of them aren't. And they're going to fight you, or you have to prove it. That's why you have to be 10 toes down and solid with it. Because some of them are going to be like, oh, yeah, you're right. I've had kids who came back again the next year who fought me tooth and nail and went to other experiences and came back and said, man, y'all need to listen to Mr. Parks because you know what he talk about. Yeah. This boy mama couldn't stand me. Didn't like my guts. And then he went away because I'm sure he went home and was like, because they always do. And then come back the next year like, he was right. You seeds. You
got to stay in your ground.
Not everything's going to grow. Because as many seeds as you plant, the birds gonna get a few of them, bro. You already know. You just gotta overseed.
Right.
That's why they call it that.
Right.
Like, please don't let that discourage you because they're not going to be right. Well, if it's just like doctoring up an apple pie, you might have to put some on some other stuff. You know what I'm saying? If you get apple pie from out of Mary Callender's, you're gonna still put a little butter on the crust and all of that. Don't put no raisins in it. You know, don't do that.
But you know what?
But most of the time, people don't know any better until you show them.
Yeah.
And you remember, Amon? Yeah. I don't think Parks was on that day, but remember when Rory read his story? He read the beginning of his story, and he was in the store, and he saw the young kid trying to steal stuff, and he broke it down to him. Remember, I mean that type of situation. Those type of moments.
Tell me about that, please.
It was no, Rory does it better, but I don't know if he's ready or willing to do it again. But the gist of the story is that there's this kid, a man sees a kid trying to steal. He goes to the. He ends up paying for his stuff, tells him that don't do this, it's not cool, it's not the way to do it, you're making us look bad as black people. He pays for his food and his stuff, tells him if he brings his report card back and he has some A's and B's, he'll give him some more money and he'll check up on him and kind of see what's going on. That kind of stuff, that kind of influence, just in that little instance in that story was just
that's great.
You know what I mean? And that was that's something that we all could do because we seen that. You see the dudes coming there with the pants down and shit, and you know and it's just like, come on, dog, like really.
Right around the street from my school, I would see kids going in there, and they don't have no money, and I'm like, what y'all want? Because I'm like, I know what you might have $1, but don't nothing cost $1 no more. What do you all want? Let me go ahead and get it. Now you said A's and B's. Shoot, for some kids, can you pass the class? Let me see some C's, and then we can work to the A's.
Oh man,
but
it's popping over there. What's going on?
They're celebrating, homie.
4th of July.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how they do it in Henderson, huh? They do it in June.
Man, it's not over here.
Juneteenth coming up.
It's not over here.
Shoot. Sound like a bag of nickels in a dryer.
Exactly.
Man, fireworks going down.
Independence Day?
Man, that's crazy. But you go ahead and continue, Parks. I'm sorry.
No, salute, no shame. Salute for that. That's real. I feel you on that. Because prevention is
yeah.
When you can feel that energy of you can tell the telltale signs. You ain't the only one.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you're like, yeah,
exactly.
You know what time it is.
Because
you asked me for $1 earlier, but you walking through the store. Come on, man.
Right. You know, and I know how it can be. Normally, I used to be like, nah, I'm not giving them no money because sometimes it's a choice that they make. You know, it is like there's a lot of sick people out there, but at the same time, you got people that are sick that they're crying for like an antidote, like another solution. And then you got people, they're like, I don't want to be sick, but I'm going to hold on to it just because of how I utilize it. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
And sometimes that's the situation.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're not going to be able to solve it all in one podcast, and that's the whole thing. The whole thing about this podcast and us doing it, on when we do it, is just for people. It may be more, sometimes it may be less, but it's just real opinions, and it's just people that are looking to do better, and wanting better for ourselves and for our communities, for our families, and then our communities. And that's to me, that's why I enjoy doing this, and I hope that you guys enjoy listening to this. So I mean, this was a heavy one. It was, had a little bit, but I think it was necessary. Necessary.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And to kind of go out on a lighter note, if you're going to be out there looting and doing stuff, put some damn tennis shoes on. I'm tired of seeing motherfuckers in flip-flops doing shit, and what are you doing?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you. I have a video about that.
38 waist.
You know what I mean, dude? You can't. And then you gonna yell at a car going by, yell out some racist shit with some flip flops on again to get tinked up and get. You know what I mean?
They serve him. On. They clean him up good.
Oh my God! What are you doing? Like,
I remember. Yeah.
Try to go like.
Stop it! Put some damn tennis shoes on. Shit.
2-piece, no biscuit.
Oh, no biscuit? Ooh, dang. You gotta get a dang, straight 2 pieces. Damn.
Oh, man.
No side order.
Extra spicy.
Damn, no side orders?
Well, he had a sidewalk order. That man stood up on giraffe legs. Like, oh. Hey, dude had to say, just sit down. just sit down.
You done enough today, huh?
It was over.
How about going on home? How about we call it a night, buddy?
Yeah, it's over. That's a done deal.
Go home and do the dishes. Quit playing.
Right.
It's over.
Park your bike. Put the kickstand down.
Right. Go home and binge watch some shit.
But you're Ubering home.
Yeah.
Who got a bike in the back of an Uber?
Man.
really, man, just come on.
Were you drunk? No. Punch drunk.
Just
Exactly.
ridiculous. But yeah, on that note, man, I think we said enough, and I'm pretty sure this is not going to be the end of this conversation, because it is something that has been going on for a long time and will continue to go on until we really see that change. And I hope that we can start to see that change sooner than later. I'm gonna go around. Parks, you got anything else that you want to say?
Yeah, I just would like to say thank you for thinking of us in the time. Still trying to figure out how to all of our listeners and everyone out there. I want to hit you with a heart punch and then a quick 1, 2, 3. You might have been able to get out, but I was pulling the tights.
All right. All right. No shame. What you got?
Man, I ain't got nothing but a zippity doodah, man. That's how I'm gonna keep it.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with that. Ahmad God, what you got?
Yo, man, I just want everybody to take away from this something positive. Think of an action plan, stick to it, don't back down. Don't be easily influenced or distracted. Like you were saying, don't let them put you to bed. You know what I'm saying? Like, stay diligent and, just stay living in your purpose, man. That's really all I got to say.
Yeah, and all I have to say is my usual. Oxman, stand up, and the marathon continues.
Continue, baby.
And we out.
Go on.